All right. Welcome everyone. Welcome to Zenathon 2025. This is Oraczen AI's first ever AI hackathon, and I'd just like to take a moment to tell you why this hackathon is one of the most amazing hackathons you're ever going to come across. So, first of all, this hackathon is unlike any other in the AI space. There are a lot of AI hackathons, but specifically, for the first time, this is an AI agent hackathon of its nature. And it's not just any kind of AI implementation. We've all had the basic chat with your PDF type of AI implementations before. Here, we are going to be building AI agents which are realistic. Realistic in the sense that these are very innovative, creative, and these are the kind of AI agents that you would seek to implement for an enterprise in actual practice. These are the kind of agents that Oraczen AI builds for its clients on a daily basis. What else is special about this hackathon? Most hackathons give you a lot of prizes, and we have a lot of great prizes and goodies as well. But we set out to have this hackathon with a special purpose, which was that we wanted to meet like minded people, people who are passionate about AI just the way we are. So, we wanted to do this hackathon with the hope that we might connect with like minded people, and potentially this could transform into a full time job opportunity for those of you who are interested and who managed to win the hackathon. So that's what is special about Zenathon. Now, I'd like to give a quick shout out and a nice introduction to all the people in Oraczen who you are going to actually come across. It's very likely you will interact with these people as you go through this process. So, first of all, we have our CEO Samir on the call, and we also have our founders Madhukar and Raghu. Madhukar and Raghavendra are both going to be, Madhukar, Raghavendra, Samir, all three of them are going to be involved in choosing the finalist of this hackathon. So, do your best to impress them with your submissions. We also have our senior AI engineers, Purush, Piyush, and Raj. And these three are going to be evaluating your projects and shortlisting them for our founders to evaluate. We also have our HR team because some of you may be scouted simply for your talent. So we have Pavan and Ashraf and Manikanta from HR at Oraczen. You will likely encounter them as well, and they too will be looking at your projects. And we have Meenal, who is heading marketing at Oraczen and has played a key role in making this hackathon possible. So Meenal, Ashraf, and her team will be on the Discord channel as well as interacting with you over email and managing all our support resources for this hackathon. So that's the team. Thank you for arranging the hackathon. And I would now like to call upon our founder Madhukar to tell you a little bit about Oraczen and also this hackathon. Over to you, Madhukar.
Thanks, Anika. And once again, welcome to everyone. And I liked one of the points that Sanika made. It's good to see a gathering of like-minded people because I think many of you who have come to this Zenathon, one thing you are proud of is your ability to build. And as a company, Orexen, we consider ourselves as a really great team of builders, right? So we of course, as you can see from our tagline, we our vision is to create the generative enterprise. But fundamentally, what we do is we build agentic workflows for our customers. AI today is quite a complex piece of technology, and companies, enterprises in particular, struggle with it. Mainly because the way the technologies are very consumer centric. You ask a question, it's a chat input, chat output kind of a response, right? Agentic technologies are a lot more complex. Something needs to be got from somewhere, it needs to be processed in a certain fashion. There are a whole bunch of agentic enterprise rules. data dictionaries, and then it needs to be processed and sent to somewhere else. Something has to happen. And as a company, Oraczen, we believe in making things happen for our customers, and that's what we are building, right? So that's Oraczen at a summary. As part of this, and as I sort of introduce you more to the Oraczen itself, so fundamentally what we do is we have created a platform. What we are building is a platform called as a Zen platform on which we build agents. While and which is one of the reasons why you see the branding as Zenathon as well. But fundamentally, what Zen platform differentiates itself from a whole bunch of other agentic AI, right? This is ground up built for an enterprise use case. What we build at as outputs here are something that is ready made day one to fit an enterprise class requirements, be it security, be it availability, be it data privacy, or any of the other 100 NFRs as it's called, right? That enterprises require. So that's what we do in from a platform perspective at Oraczen. Coming to the agents itself, right? The idea here is agents come in different sizes and forms. What you see today in the market are, maybe there are agents that do a marketing job better. Maybe there are agents that do a video generation activity. Maybe there are agents that do a voice activity. What here we try to do is what we call as multimodal agents. Maybe the input starts as a voice. Maybe there are a whole bunch of data that comes in from different sources. Maybe the output is a video, right? It could be anything. I mean, so the ability to straddle really vast input and output and all the in between data sources, right? All the different diverse formats is essentially what makes our Zen platform really strong or really appealing offering for our customers. So we're working with quite a few really big names that you can think of, Thermo Fisher or Unilever and so on. So quite a few companies, big names that we work with and whom we are building agents for. As a company, we are primarily our currently most of our focus is in the US because that's where most of our requirements are coming from. But we are as a team, we are quite there's a lot of centers in Europe, and we are also looking to grow in a few other geographies as well. But our core product engineering center is a India based. It's in Hyderabad at the moment, and the idea here is that through a strategic kind of a, what shall I say, a network of uh, engineering centers where we can actually source the best talent from different geographies, we can actually build together one of the most formidable engineering teams in the AI industry. That's what we are building at the moment. So coming to why are we doing this? Sanika, do you want to take this and run with it?
Sure, sure. So we are doing this, as I said before, we wanted to find like minded people. We wanted to find good quality talent in the AI space. So we thought, let's start with this. And the AI agents that, some of the topics have been given in the hackathon, these are the type of agents that we build on a regular basis on the go. And so they are very realistic use cases. These are not use cases that you would typically find or think about in your day-to-day life, but these are exactly the kind that enterprise actually need. So this is where theory meets practice. And of course, there's a lot of scope for creativity when you actually read up the notes we have provided on every topic. You will be amazed and excited by the topics that you see and the guidance that we have given in that. So do give it a go. Do enjoy the process. Do not worry about making mistakes or not getting it right. The process will be super super valuable and rewarding. Yes, the hackathon runs from 15th to 25th March on the Unstop portal where we have all our details. You'll see all the key milestones. One important thing to note is that on 19th of March we have an interim checkpoint, so you have to make a submission on that day before you make the final submission. So what that gives us is an opportunity to reach out to you and for you to reach out to us as well, so we can actually touch base and even give you some guidance. And all our mentors are going to be available, and even the Discord channel is going to be active full time. And the whole idea behind doing it from 15th to 25th March, by the way, was because we wanted to give you 2 full weekends including weekdays to work on this, because we understand you might have work, you might have study, you may not be able to do this full time on weekdays. So the challenge is kind of set up that way, by the way. Right. Yeah. Okay. Now we will take a few minutes to just give you a brief idea of the type of topics they are, and it would be nice for you to hear them from our founders. Just meanwhile, anyone who has questions while we are doing this kickoff, please feel free to send it in through the Q&A. There's a small icon for Q&A at the bottom bar of your Zoom call. So keep sending them in throughout the meeting. Towards the end of this, we are going to do a Q&A and address all your questions. Okay, so for the topics, I'd first like to call upon Raghvendra to take up a few and just share his thoughts with you about them.
Perfect. Thanks, Anika. Welcome, everybody. Thanks, Madhukar. So I think as Sanika and Madhukar have been saying, right, so the fundamental objective for us when we were kind of brainstorming what are the set of topics we want to select for the hackathon, I think one thing that we kept in mind was, or rather two things. One is keep it as realistic as possible to the work that we do, right? As Sanika said, effectively, objective is for you to hopefully come on board if you are successful. So we want to keep it as realistic as possible, and also at the same time keep it as interesting as we possibly can, right? So that was the two things that we kept in mind. So I'll probably cover on the first and the last, maybe to start with. So the testing automation one, I think very briefly what we thought is that, look, today obviously a lot of AI agents are getting built, and the way we look at agents are, these are micro SaaS applications, right? Pretty small applications. We don't have hundreds of screens in most cases. These are small and simple, doing a specific workflow. What that also means is that the time that is available for the development team to build and deliver these agents are crunched, right? So obviously any automation that is possible is of extreme value to the development team. So this test case tries to look at a user trying to test or manually test it, but actually use that as a basis to build out a list of test cases and also automate it. So there are some guidance in terms of what possible technologies and approaches you can use, but absolutely open to any kind of innovation, right? So think of all of these as broad sets of guidelines, but feel free to elaborate, expand on it in any form or shape, right? Technology wise or functionality wise, you want to adapt it. I mean, as long as it kind of meets the broad guidelines, happy to look at innovation, right? So that is first one, testing automation. So take a user playing around with an agent, convert it to a list of test cases and automate it, right? So broadly, that is what the first one is. The last one is again in the same spirit of crunched timelines, right? So obviously, typically all of us have sat through code review calls, right? So we have somebody senior on the team come and say, look, okay, open that file, open this file, make that change, make this change. This should not have been done, as whatever data structure you have chosen should be different, and so on, right? So at the end of all of this, typically what we've realized is that a lot of onus is on the people sitting and listening in terms of what changes to make. There's a lot of pressure on them, right? So this use case is a very simplistic approach, trying to see, can we automate that process a little bit? So look at it like you have a code review meeting. Can there be an agent which kind of summarizes what changes are to be made, right? So obviously that again there is an understanding of what is to be changed and how it is to be changed and all that. So again, a lot of scope for innovation and lateral thinking. Feel free to experiment and see what best we can expect on this. So that's a couple of the use cases, Sanika.
Let me take
Thanks
the
for
other
that.
three.
Yes. And over to you, Madhukar, to walk us through the other amazing agents as well.
Perfect. I'll start with the chat with SQL and visualization agent. The idea here is very simple. While chat gpt, while we are very familiar with asking chat gpt to provide us recipes or something, but in the world of enterprises it's always data, tons of data. It's excel sheets, it's massive amounts of data. And what happens in an enterprise is they have data from Oracle, they have data from an SQL server, they have data from multiple sources, right? They want to be able to talk to that data. Enterprises are not interested in data for data itself, right? They want the insights. They want to know, hey, what does a dip in sales in North America mean, for example, right? Or just to know that, what, there is an anomaly here or something, right? So what they want is the ability, if somebody wakes up, the CEO, for example, wakes up and says, hey, you know what, I want to know what is my profitability in the African provinces. How does he get that, right? Today, it's a very cumbersome process. He tells somebody, the product manager then contacts somebody in the IT team, then contacts some developer who then puts together a dashboard. That's it. AI is can AI do this job better, right? So of course there are SQL query generators, and it's easy. You can ask AI to do the SQL, but it's not as easy as that. The complexity increases when there's tons of data. AI, the SQL joins don't work all that well. You ask a complex query, it doesn't do all that well. Or sometimes you ask for insights, right? So the AI should get insights, should do more complex queries, right? That's where how do you sort of you have to be the LLM whisperer here. You have to be able to do the right kind of prompting strategy, do the right kind of mechanism, use the right kind of technologies. Again, in the guidance we have given some ideas, right? Be it a pandas, be it an SQL based logic. There are many methods possible. You pick the right this thing, or you bring your own thing that works. Show us something that can be done in real time, something that can, within say a 20 seconds or 15 seconds or 10 seconds, give an output that wows the customer. So that's the first one. So how do we do with the data? The second one, I love this use case because in some ways, this is a lot going to be the future as we go along. So if any of you can track this opportunity, believe me, it's a $1 billion opportunity waiting for you. So what this is many of you are familiar with V0. What a V0 does is V0 can give you can ask it a question, generate a website, and you just explain it and it will generate you a list of create a website. There are so many website generator tools. This is not that. Here, what we are trying to do here is so companies don't work that way. Companies have standards, be it color standards. Companies have standards around how the code logic, which component design libraries do. Maybe you're using a material design system. Maybe you're using each company has got its own custom components. So what we want to do, what we want to see here is we use not the internet sources like Material UI or ShadCN or whichever design libraries, but you have your own set of 10 components. You say that my button should look like this. Anytime my input, it should look like this. So we create, say, a 30 component design system. I want to see when I say build a website, it should exactly use only these restricted components, not other components. Only these restricted components. So everything, right from the style choices, the palette choices, the everything is now yours. You build the website, get it up and running, right? So that's what we mean by a V0 clone. So create something like V0, but on a restricted design library, right? So that's the other. So it's more a coding kind of a agent, right? How do you create a nice ability to code generate with using LLMs. And for the final one, this is a one of those things that is it's a rightly literally a hot topic, in the sense that we want to see if we can also use AI as a force for good, right? So today companies want to see their carbon footprint, but it's not, it costs a lot of money to even generate a carbon footprint report for customers. Sometimes it goes as high as millions of dollars of just trying to figure out where are they spending, and they have to use a lot of consultants, refer to a whole bunch of databases to even to create basic carbon footprint reports. But AI can do the job very easily because there are carbon databases available. So, and if you can figure out saying that, okay, you hook up to the procurement system, or you hook up to the invoicing system, you know exactly what is the what am I purchasing. Put the two and two together, right? So if somebody purchases, say, widget X, that widget X has a carbon footprint of so and so. So add it to the company's carbon footprint, right? So being able to generate a carbon footprint report. Again, companies find it really valuable because they want to be a concerned global citizen, they want to advertise their eco-friendly credentials and say that, hey, you know what, compared to last year to this year, I've reduced 20%. But how do you get the data for that? So we are trying to see if we can use AI to solve that problem, right? So that's in some ways is what shall I say, the range of agents that we are trying to build. And again, if I were to summarize, and I want to hark back to the point that I made, it is that entire multimodal agentic capabilities. Now, if you look at, for example, the testing automation, very likely it's more of a video kind of analysis. So maybe just try to the developer works through, does some few clicks on the screen. It should be able to understand the video and of the screenplay, and be able to generate the mock the test cases, right? So that quite likely is a agent of that category. The second one, as I said earlier, it's a massive data processing kind of an agent. The third one is a code generation kind of an agent, where you want to see generate code based on some restricted choices and constraints that you impose. The fourth one is a much more overall, data reference, internet, more reasoning based models, much more insight kind of a generation kind of exercise here for the fourth one. And the fifth one, very likely, is a voice-based agent, because it's a Teams call, right? People are saying, hey, do that, do this, do that. So convert from voice, combine it with the code, the library, and try to figure out, hey, he said this, given this kind of a code structure, maybe this is what he was referring to. Put 2 plus 2 together and create the right kind of next steps or the PRs that are needed, right? So that's in some ways the different kinds of agents. That's where the challenge is. Feel free to pick your poison. Feel free to pick where you think you will shine, and where you think your source of strength is, or where your knowledge boundaries are. And let's get going.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you for that, Madhukar. And it's so interesting that each of those topics are like $1 billion agents. But before you make that much money, this is what you can get. You can get a Mac Mini, an iPad, or AirPods for the first, second, and third prize, respectively. But don't worry, in case you want a different gadget, we're happy to give you the cash equivalent of these prizes as well. And everyone, all participants who go through the interim checkpoint, we know that you're committed to this, so we're going to give goodies to you, and we're going to send a lot of cool merch as well. So just we want everyone to enjoy this process and not just be about winning the first three prizes. So do your best. And yeah, we are going to be on the on the lookout for good talent. So some of you would also be approached for a potential job opportunity, a potential interview, and we are going to be with you every step of the way. We are going to be reaching out and giving you opportunities to speak throughout this process as well. Now, of course, you can't just have the cake without eating your vegetables. So these are the rules. Very basic rules. Basically, just do ethical stuff. The whole point here is to do something authentically and do it innovatively. So of course, goes without saying, don't try to copy something that's already done, especially because it will curb your own potential in terms of just having that hands-on experience, and also trying to make it your own, make it creative. So everyone is not, you're not going to be penalized for making mistakes, but you will not be giving yourself a fair shot if you try to take shortcuts here. And in any case, taking shortcuts won't be easy because we've made them very specialized topics, so they are not your standard topics. Just go through the hackathon rounds properly, like make your interim submission. In the final submission, do a nice YouTube presentation as well. So just do all the rounds as they are laid out on Unstop, and you should be good. Awesome. So our Discord active all the time. We are there. We also have an email ID provided on Unstop, and we have a Word document added on Unstop with all the details and guidance on each topic. So we try to anticipate that on any topic, what is it that you might ask us. So all the FAQs are answered. And there's also a form. So you have any question not answered, just put it in that form. We'll get it. We'll get back to you like ASAP. All right. Okay, so that's about the hackathon, and now the most exciting time is here. Okay, it's time for Q&A, and I already see a lot of enthusiastic questions. Please start sending them in, and we'll start taking them up one by one now. All right. So Karthik has asked, what is the judging criteria? Madhukar, would you like to take that one?
Absolutely. So it's very simple. What we look for is the originality of the idea, right? Sometimes, maybe the technology is not mature enough so that it doesn't give a great performance, for example, because you need GPUs to make it work. So I'm not looking at, it should work perfectly the first time round. I'm more interested in the engineering bit. Have you engineered it right? Have you got the concepts and stringing together the idea right? Uh, Maybe out of the 10 steps that you did, 8 steps great, but the 2 steps didn't work, because of which, whatever reason, you didn't get a great perfect, awe-inspiring output. But that's fine. The idea is not to get it all perfect in this short compressed time span, but to see if you have the right idea, the right approach, the right engineering mindset, and some clever things that you did to make it happen, right? So we really encourage that creativity. We really want to understand if you are thinking on your feet, you're thinking like a builder. And third and most important thing is, do you have that, that ability to think deep, think structured, think of all the possibilities, and then think to create something that enterprises will value, right? That's what we will look at as a judging criteria.
There's a related question to this, that given the duration, is it, suppose we write something, some piece of code, and there are bugs. So are we going to be penalized for bugs, or should we keep the scope small and not try to be too innovative because it risks introducing a lot of bugs last minute? So what is your guidance for that?
My suggestion would be ambitious. Okay. And as I said, we are not trying to see that you cross all the dots. What we'll also do is, towards the middle of this thing, session, when you are sort of done the mid submission, right? We might ask you, hey, you need to think about this, you need to think about it. So we don't, like, for example, if we say that you need to connect to a data source, I don't care if you don't do it, you are not able to do it for 5 different data sources, just one data source, right? So we are not trying to get it all perfect. So even if you are able to show that for one particular use case it works well, etc., that's good enough. Bugs are a part of the game. Again, try to make use of AI as much as you can. Try to help. Again, one of the things that I really want to encourage is use AI. AI is your friend here. Code generation. Take the help of AI to generate reams of code. You move fast, right? So make AI your friend. You don't need to develop everything from scratch and so on. Use AI. But of course, we do value bug-free code, but doesn't mean that when you're doing a submission or some bug introduced this thing, that's fine. At any point in time, my suggestion would be that don't wait for the last day. If you can show like a video of it working at some point in time, record a video and keep it ready. Try to fix it so that on the last day when you are doing a demo or whatever, something didn't work, you at least have a backup video available that you can show and discuss with us. And believe me, it's all of us, be it Raghu or me or any of our team members, we understand code. So if at a backup, you have to show us the code, we will be able to figure out as to what exactly you were trying to do. So don't worry too much about creating the perfect code right from day one.
All right. Thank you, Madhukar. There's a question for you, Raghu, that, for the topic on carbon footprint, do we need to train certain LLMs with available data sets on carbon footprint of different data centers? And if yes, can you name such platforms where such kind of data sets are available? Basically, there is curiosity, a lot of curiosity about how to arrange for the data required for the carbon footprint agent.
Sure. So I think the answer to that, obviously, I don't think we expect you to train a model. I think I would rather prefer that if there is an existing model, I mean, look at if you can get something on Hugging Face or elsewhere, right? So ideally, use something that exists. I think the objective is for us to more look at, you will see a little bit more detail when you see the request, right? Is more about mapping various elements to a carbon footprint spend or a usage or a number. So I don't think the effort is to train a model, but try and see something which exists, right? So I would say start with that maybe.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. So for the testing automation agent, what kind of tests are we expected to automate? Is it front end testing, back end testing, back end unit testing, or regression testing? What kind of testing for testing automation?
Correct. So I think here maybe it is evident in the documents when you see it, but I think what we are looking at is largely end-to-end testing. So if a user were to use that application or screen or functionality you're building, how would that happen, right? So we would want to look at more end-to-end UI based testing, not so much specific small bits of functionality or back-end testing. But now, obviously, since you have automated it, so hopefully I can also use it for regression testing, right? So the idea is while it is still front end, it is definitely something that we could use for regression. So I mean, think of it like infusing Playwright with AI or something like that, right? So how would you avoid using specific buttons, specific names, specific screen elements to do the test design, but rather use AI to kind of did kind of arrive at that so that if the UI changes, you can still rerun the regression. So it's definitely front end, but given the type of test cases that will be built, you can use it for regression as well.
Awesome. Thank you for that. There's a question that, are we expecting only, LLM type Gen AI solutions, or can we also use old school ML DL models, machine learning, deep learning type of models? Would you take that, Madhukar?
Yeah, I'll take that. I think absolutely no restriction on using ML models. In fact, I love ML models. I would love if any of you are using it and then to understand the logic or understand the reasoning behind why you picked up XYZ model. But having said that, I want to put a word of caution. What we have from our experience is that ML models sometimes play a critical role for certain things. It may not be the best possible. Uh, uh, Even now, even now, LLMs are still the best fit for the current, the kind of use cases that we are talking about. But I'm very open. In fact, if somebody can demonstrate it otherwise to me, believe me, you have the biggest supporter in me here. Uh, so experiment with it. I mean, there are other models that are emerging called LCM models and so on. I mean, if any of you want to even explore that area, please try. I mean, as I said, bonus points absolutely for thinking out of the box. If you see that any of you have really thought out of the box and not gone the route that 99% of the people have taken, I really would think that deserves uh, 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 definitely a bonus vintage.
Awesome. Speaking of models, there's a question that are paid LLM models allowed or only free models? Would you take that up, Raghu?
Yeah, yeah. No, paid models are allowed. I think there is nothing blocking you. I think, of course, given the cost of models and so on, I mean, if you look at it, I'm sure you can find models which are not very expensive. I'm sure you can use it, no problem. I mean, there is no reason to need to use only free models, right? We don't do that typically in any enterprise, so there is no need to do that as part of the hackathon.
Okay. Um, Not sure which agent this is about, but someone has asked how are we expecting to integrate the agent with some Chrome extension or VS Code extension or via website. So might
I'm
be
assuming
for the testing agent,
Yeah, yeah.
perhaps.
I'm assuming it is for the testing. So here, I think you will see that in the example. I think obviously there are any number of agent approaches to get this done. So what we have thought, what we have defined it in the ask in detail, right? You'll see that you can start with a video recording or something like that, right? So don't worry about grabbing the user testing the application. You can start with a video. So in most cases, I think what we have laid out is let's start with a video file wherever required. So be it for the test case generator or for the code review meeting thing, right? So let's start with a video and move forward because grabbing and capturing that may not be the biggest problem that we are trying to solve.
Right. Okay. There are a couple of questions even about the overall hackathon. Like one question is the interim progress review on March 19th. How detailed should our GitHub repo be? Like, do you want a working prototype or is some initial code commits and some rough architecture diagrams sufficient for that submission?
So I think for my understanding, what I am thinking is I think it's probably important to have the architecture sorted. I think at least how are you trying to approach the problem that you pick, right? So if that is clear, the number of commits and how far you have got to building it is obviously depends a lot, right? How what is the approach, right? Some people typically love to start writing code and then get it working. Some people spend a bit of time on designing what is to be done, at least at a paper on pen and paper, and then go to build it. So it depends on the style. So I don't think there's no hard and fast rule. I think main thing for us is to see that there is progress, right? So obviously if at midpoint check you don't have any progress, be it architecture, be it code, be it prototype, then obviously we all know that it's not going to get done, right? So it's more for us to see where you've got to, right? Whatever be the nature of progress.
Right. All right. Thanks for clarifying that. Madhukar, maybe you can take this one. Okay, so the question is that the final submission requires a YouTube video, right? YouTube demo video. So the question is that does every team member need to speak or can just a few present? Some are more comfortable with talking than others.
Absolutely. Your choice. We leave it to you. just make your best impression. I mean, and we do understand that everybody at the end of the day, not all five fingers are alike, right? People have their own. Some people are good at coding. Some people are good at presentation. Some people are the architects. Bring your best skills. Do your best. We are not very keen on any particular that everybody should speak or anything like that. It's your call.
Awesome. Okay. About the contributions of the team, there is a question that how do we log the contributions of each individual? Should we give it in the GitHub README file or should we mention it in the YouTube presentation? What's the best way of getting that across to you?
So I think there is a balance here. I think just to, of course, while different people have different skills, I think obviously as part of the overall solution, I think if you are a team of two or three, we need to see that what is the contribution from each of the individuals, right? So if one person is tasked with writing all the code, then we still need to see what the others contributed, right? So that it's a balance. I think you'll have to strike. And in any case, I think obviously even if it is an architecture diagram or even if it is an architecture approach or a database design or whatever it is, right, figure a way to somehow bring it out in either the GitHub repo or in the presentation, right? I think the only underlying thing is everybody needs to show their contribution, right, however it is, not necessarily by only talking, but either ways.
Yeah. Funny question, Madhukar. How are we planning to divide one iPad mini amongst three members?
Good question. It's like I have three sons, so we have an iPad mini at home. So obviously they share the time. But I was just kidding. But I think as Sanika said, we are fairly open. If any of you want to take it in cash and split it amongst yourselves, be our guest. But that's uh, we're fairly open. I mean, you can decide cash or iPad mini, whichever is your pick of poison. Please choose.
Okay. So yeah, I think we are almost to the close of the Q&A. There's just one last question left. More of a hygiene question that, are there any set times during which the Discord support channel will operate? Like, will mentors be available 24/7? Or are there any specific time zones for quick responses? Raghu, would you like to take that?
Yeah, so I think we've tried to cover. So some of our team members are in India, some of them not. So for example, Raj is based in the other time zone. I am based in the middle of the world. You are in the London time zone. So I think we'll try and cover as much as we can on Discord. I don't think there's any firm time in terms of when you expect the response to come, but I think just give us a little bit of time and bandwidth. We'll try to make sure that we answer questions without much delay. Right? Time is short, so we'll make our part in that.
We won't be sleeping much during the hackathon.
Yeah.
There is a question about. Okay, Riddhi has written that, hi, I'm confused about what type of model we are supposed to use. Um, would you clarify that, Raghu? Like what types of models? Of course, we don't know much of the context here.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think maybe it's a very specific question. So, if there is any specific question in regard to the challenge that you pick up, we can always discuss that in detail.
Right. I think you can send it to us on Discord or via email, and we'll get back to you. Once we have a bit more detail about that. Okay. Yeah. You can send it to us on Discord, Riddhi. We will get back. You can send us a bit more detail. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Well, thanks for being such a lovely audience. And yeah, let's kickstart Zenathon. So have a great time, and we'll be in touch with you. Keep monitoring the LinkedIn and keep monitoring the Discord. So we'll be putting all the updates there. All right. Okay. Thank you.